G'day, welcome to part 7 of my playthrough of All Countries mode, where I think the big focus of this one is going to be trying to solve this mess. So, people are trying to get to LA faster than I can get people to LA. Now, these guys connect straight through to, so I'm going to keep this on just slow speed for now while we try and figure this out, because this is going to just perpetually get worse, I think. And it's painful because they're only going to take one route out of Paris to get there, which is going to be the route through Washington. Like, they're not going to go through New York or through, through Houston. It's the route they're going to take, even though possibly you could do it as fast through Washington. Let's get another plane on that route too, then, if Washington's starting to feel the burn. I guess maybe they are going through Washington as opposed to through Houston. Yes, definitely through Washington. I think we might have figured that out last time. Okay, so now that would say that they're determining that it's faster to get there through Paris than it is through Madrid to go through Houston. So this route is longer. If we look at this on a full world scale, it's suggesting that, like, it's people in this region here that must be trying to do this, because if you live down here, surely this would be the faster route. Like, it's faster to go across and across as opposed to up and across. Surely. It's slowly starting to wind down, like, go down the tiniest little bit. I just wonder if I do, like, one thing that people have said is that I should have London as a hub for all of these cities. I mean, there's not too much in the way of, like, oh, you can see all of that is American, so there's at least less than 165 people waiting for anything in England. But I do wonder if I made a direct flight from Berlin to London, and then a direct flight from London to, say, New York, and then cut this New York direct flight, I could actually pull all the New York flights out of Paris and have them going via London. Let's try that out. So firstly, we'll get London to connect direct to Berlin. And we'll make that guy go. And what we'll do is we'll connect all of our English cities just straight to London too. We won't get rid of their Paris connections, because what we want is basically what we were sort of looking at with that Havana flight and how it's becoming more and more valuable as time goes by. I think that what we want to do is just sort of hold on to that, and that we can potentially sell them later in the game. So what we'll do is, London is only held as a 100 population city to this point. What we will do is we'll go over here and we will put this in. Oh, that is painful, just because I just went to all the effort of dragging to have to do it again. Okay, and we go to London. Connect them up. There's someone else that was complaining. It's that guy. Let's get them connected, and we will spend the money to upgrade their planes. I realize that's not something I did for London, but it's alright, we can address that soon enough. Now, places like Calcutta, we can see, are taking red planes out. So let's give Calcutta, just as we're swinging by, a second plane. We'll just wait a moment, because we can see he's just right behind this guy. So I'll wait for that guy to get all the way up. That's probably far enough. And all these other ones, as long as they're sort of long-distance international ones, although, again, it's sort of New York and that are slowing him down. Just send him to Madrid. Madrid will gladly take care of him. Okay, so we've got this flight. This one plane. Get him going. We'll wait for him to sort of just be beyond Canada, and then we'll set up another one. We'll just wait for this guy to be beyond Canada. So Rome is definitely struggling here. I don't know why. I don't know how logically this is the busier direction for this. That Paris is where you'd want to go for all of these destinations, even Mexico's City. So let's have a quick look at what Madrid's got. Let's give Madrid Mexico City. Still got 43 minutes here, so we can. Did that not make? Did I lose that? Try that again. Oh no, it did. It's a really high arc to where I was. It's that one. Cool. Alright. So we'll start doing these, and hopefully what we start to see is that this guy becomes packed, trying to take that Mexico City burden. We'll put a second flight on this at least. And we can see our London flight is already packed. It's good. We do need to get more planes on that London route as well. So we haven't even cut the Paris connection, and you can see that there are already people that are preferencing going through London to get there. So that's a good sign. Let's get another guy going there. Let's see if this guy's red coming back. He's not. So Rome is still adamant that it's faster to go north to get to Mexico City. Makes me wonder if I should remove Aris's ability to go direct to Mexico. Although there's now no Mexico City flights there. Maybe they're not the big problem for it. And we can see that people are starting to line up for Mexico City here. So I guess New York is now starting to feel a bit more of this as well. Another theory I was thinking about, and I wondered if this would actually just put those two guys right back to back. About if this would possibly be the way that you manage America, is you make America less efficient. So what you do is you say pick Kansas City as the central hub of all America. Every single American city connects to Kansas City. Possibly we might just have Denver as a short route, and then the west connects to Denver. So one west to the east. So what you then do is you have, say, Paris connect to New York, you have London connect to Toronto, Madrid connects to Atlanta, or Madrid connects to, say, Washington, and then you have Mali connect to Atlanta. So that each individual city is going to take you directly to a busy city, but if you want to go anywhere else, there's multiple flights that if you're in Mali, surely if you want to get to New York, you're going to take that bounce through flight. So you'll bounce into Kansas City and back out, which possibly could mean that there's more people on those shorter flights flying around inside America, as opposed to everyone just being banked on these same routes all over the Atlantic. I don't know. Sort of would be a shift of strategy midstream here, and we'll see how we go. I think if we collapse under the weight of this, we might reconsider it. Still bummed that Mexico City's not, that Madrid is slowly getting there. I mean, I suppose the good thing is that we don't want all of it to go to, we don't want all of it to end up in Madrid. If we're possibly at least dividing it between the two, that's okay. So we're just going to sit over here and wait for this to get right, because we should just get all our planes in order on these ones. At least the New York and Los Angeles ones are two different routes. What I could possibly do is pick somewhere else, like say Switzerland, and have Switzerland connect to all of these, and then have a direct flight to Chicago. Chicago's also up here as our problem child. Or do we make London go direct? Let's give London a direct flight to Chicago as well. Slow things down. See, this is annoying. There was that message warning me about a new place coming in, and then there was one that was warning me about like somewhere being overflowed, and it's like, well, I can't address that right now because I'm currently dragging a route, but by the time I'm done, it's going to be gone, and I just have to remember where it was. That's okay. Let's generally those new ones aren't going to be anything overly dire. Let's give Mumbai a second plane. Obviously they've got red, which means that just that one internal is suffering, and this is what we want to get rid of. Say Kolkata, Mumbai being these really heavy hitters in there. We can obviously afford another plane. Okay, so we can now see that Chicago is big, and we've divided Chicago out to just London. Now, hopefully I did start... No, actually it's a negative that I started this in London, because it means that they'll only take 20 people out as I make a new plane. And we've got to, and so once I make a new plane, it's only going to be 20 less people that are going to be coming out of there. So I'm going to leave Chicago like that. I think that it's going to be maybe Minneapolis. I could connect through it. But now let's leave it as an awkward route because we don't really want to have everyone pushing through London. Get another plane going. Hopefully our first planes are back soon. Luckily, Cape Town, I didn't make the capital of the south there, so sigh of relief. Another. Okay, so you can see that in this time where we've just been slowly trying to fix the map, we have made a nice healthy amount of money. Havana. Why are you almost full, Havana? Okay, so Paris is now looking a little bit better, with Toronto now being its major concern. London has Chicago, but the important thing is that we've now divided out the workload between these three cities. Whether that only needs one plane, probably be the big question mark. Rome is also starting, is a little bit of a tricky point in between because it's got people going everywhere. But if we can see, let's say, Mumbai and so on are the popular route, that's this one. So we do definitely have a full set of planes on there. So nothing we need to really adjust at this point. Is that a full plane? Grade him if Bucharest is in yellow. We may as well get him a bit faster. Let's have a quick look at how we're doing here. Karachi. Alright, let's give Karachi a second plane. Slow things down. Just wait till his plane hits the airport and go. Alright, let's bring in Mongolia. So, Shimli Ulaanbaatar is going to be our one city. Surely shouldn't be too busy a city, so we'll just give it one flight from Beijing. Next is Afghanistan. Now, I don't know where the capital of Afghanistan is. And I guess we'll find out. But all of these countries here are a little bit... we're not donating that much money to charity at this point. See, this is where this becomes an interesting sort of debate of strategy. Now, like we can see that with, say, our continuously checked Havana direct flight, how much more expensive that has come as I've unlocked more countries. So I feel like spending the next, say, 20 minutes or so just looking at layout and trying to see that have we sort of fixed this European, like this Atlantic mess, is a valuable thing to do right now. Because if I let this go further on and I have to make more adjusting flights, that's going to be even more expensive than what we're currently facing. So, question for Marco is this fine? I mean, firstly, why don't we have this guy connecting here? Let's give him at least a faster plane. Assumingly, we do want this guy to come down and connect to Brazil, but we also wouldn't want him to be the only flight doing that. So we might have Nigeria connect through too, as well as South Africa. Not the country South Africa, the location of Southern Africa, rather. Okay, so let's have a quick overview to see where are red planes flying. Now, apart from our Atlantic flights, so we can see that the good thing is that there's 2 red flights coming from Mexico City. But then beyond that, they were fine. Like, not all 5 planes coming are red, which means that they are actually addressing the load. You can see that there's not as much red now crossing the Atlantic. Just really this Mexico to... I don't know where that is, so hopefully they're not a key city. I wish that there was a way that I could say, hey, all planes on the map, upgrade them all to level 5. Because I don't want anything lower. It's just, I don't want to have to audit all of Europe to make sure they are flying fine. How many planes have I got on this route? Let's put a second one on there. I saw a red plane on there, so we may as well make it a little bit more efficient. I wonder if they measure efficiency at all. I wonder also if I should get rid of this direct flight to Delhi, if actually they're better off making the bouncing through. If these guys are all green, and I can put more planes on these routes, I think that this is actually a detriment to Rome getting full. Because instead what they can do is we can have these planes here, just put more of them in available so that these guys shift to Ankara, and then these 3 planes, we can also make 5, can shift them to Tehran, and then Tehran can shift them to New Delhi, and again on a route that I don't think we've got 5. We've got 5 planes on that one, but they're currently not full. Hopefully this will actually see Rome decrease in its busyness, because it's now currently the busiest city in... so it looks like the busiest city in there, apart from Budapest. I'm noticing that lags really kicking in. Zagreb. Couldn't even tell you where Zagreb is. All I know is it's connected to Rome. So it must be somewhere in here. There it is, Zagreb, Croatia. Is that Croatia? Yes. Okay, so we've got 5 million in the bank. Let's fix this guy up. Give him a faster plane. Now, I wonder if what I should do is actually just slow this down for a second, and let's make sure that we do have these guys as efficient as possible. Trying to make sure that Rome, because we don't want Rome collapsing under the weight of all this. But I think I've got these guys pretty well divided across the route. So maybe just a gap in here. So we'll wait for the other guy to shoot past him, and we'll go there. We've got 5 there. We can then see that this has become a significantly busier route because of that. So I'll wait for the plane behind him to go past to about here. You can see Ankara is now struggling because we've just suddenly allowed Rome to push so many people directly through. We'll go south here because it's less busy of our capitals. Where is he? Just here. So we'll wait for the gap, which I think is probably after this guy. Okay, so we'll get him going. And then Tehran. I think we've already got our 5 on here. So we'll just make sure that Tehran can handle what it's getting. This guy should hopefully correct a little bit. I won't upgrade him just yet, just so I've got that ability to address it if it is a continuing problem. Because, I mean, you can see that these routes, even Rome, is now no longer pulling as many people as it was. It's addressed its need for the amount of people going to India that were coming. So now what we've got to do is make sure that Ankara can just push that along, and then hopefully after that, it should be a bit more smooth sailing. Alright, so let's get Afghanistan in. Well, with the location of that, I think we're going to have to zoom into New Delhi here, I would say. Kabul in. We'll have to keep an eye on to see if that needs 2 planes. Honduras. Whoa, okay. You are out in no man's land there, buddy. Alright, let's go to Kazakhstan for him. It does mean that anything domestic is going to bounce a weird route to get to him. But we'll take it for now. Honduras. Okay, so it's over at our islands. No. Central America. Why did you suddenly... It's now south. Oh, of course. Okay, so there was an actual Urgent address. Now, Madrid isn't that big an airport, so that's actually not too big a concern. So let's get Honduras in here. They can go Mexico City. No, I think those things have become too expensive that they're not worth doing. I could possibly set up the Taipei cities to just go via Taipei, but I mean that's such a small little route that they're going to be a part of anyway that it's not that big a deal. Okay, so this guy's struggling because he's also got people that want to go to Kampala. I mean everyone's wanting to currently go to Kampala. That one. Alright, okay, so what we probably need to do is just increase the amount of people we've got on this route. We'll increase the size of him. Now this is over too, so this 5,000 that are currently in there will eventually go away, but just to sort of shore it up a bit, we will add that extra plane on at least the final leg. But then you can see that there's only the one plane sort of moving to each of these, so that should hold pretty steady. Okay, so luckily we've got some big money because we are about to bring in another major country, Indonesia. So we will put Indonesia direct to Thailand, slow things down again, get Jakarta connected to Bandung. Keep an eye on how far through this one is because we will make this a pretty major route. This is going to be the entry point for the islands here as well as Australia and New Zealand. Still that Kapala stuff, but it is a small airport, so we'll increase it a little bit. I mean, it does also highlight that we probably do need to upgrade these key routes through Africa. Okay. So the problem here is that Indonesia's closest points to Africa are going to be all the way over there, which is a $200,000 route. Slow things down again. We will make sure that another Chinese city that's probably popped up on me. Who are you closer to? Well, I think Wuhan's got more cities connected to it, so we'll go to Beijing. See, a lot of these guys are yellow, but that just means that planes, it's not that they're like buckling at all, it's just that their populations of like 100 people, so that just means that they're waiting. But even just being yellow, they're fine. Cairo, Mexico City. Now, is that suggesting that these people are actually waiting to head through the southern tip of Africa to actually get out, or are they heading? That guy seems like he's just cleared it, so yeah, we do need this route stacked correctly. And we will make the various different routes that will be ideal for Indonesia now too. Kampala. So it's still Kampala traffic. It's looking that. Well, get a third plane in there. We'll wait for the other plane to shoot past him. That's just, it's a bit annoying when I've got to find my get pulled away from something else trying to time right. Okay, so once this guy gets to just past Madagascar, Shala is still struggling there. I think, yeah, they should be fine soon. That's starting to go down now. And with 3 planes on that route, I think they can do work faster than the guys bringing him in. Okay, so we've got another Indonesian city. Slow things down again. Now, I don't think we'll get Indonesia to connect through Chennai, because I think we're better off having those short routes of Thailand, although that's not overly a short route. Are we looking internally? We do have a few people pushing to Rome. Not overly anything specific, so I think we are just sort of moving traffic around nicely. So it now seems to be heading south. That is our new problem. I mean, I don't think there's that many planes on this route, so let's pretty easily address this one. As long as Africa can handle the all the traffic once it gets in here. But again, then it's not an overly well upgraded continent here, so I can certainly correct it if there's a problem. Okay, so let's get a bit more time on the clock. Oh. What were you complaining about? I suppose you're now an international destination, so we'll be a little bit more leniency. Yeah, I'm wondering if I need to connect that through here or even through there, or if that's revisits that same problem of having too many long flights that'll cause problems. I think we're looking alright at the moment. The important thing is that we've got, say, this higher route, and it's being used. Then we've got a central route here, and then we've got sort of this third lower route down here as well. Now, it does currently mean that anyone going to Indonesia does have to go a weird route through Thailand or, I think so. Maybe we do want Chennai. Go Chennai to Jakarta. These are really starting to slow down as we get announcements now. They're really hitting me with some lag. Okay, and then once this is done, we really gotta get on buying Kyrgyzstan. Probably the least famous of the stands. Okay, let's make sure that Munich, we'll just slow down for a second. We'll make sure Munich's going to be okay here. What has it got? It's got one plane. Berlin's should be able to handle the sort of lower this traffic. I can see that's already hitting red. Let's get it a second plane. Okay, here we go. 1.4 million. That one can go north. Armenia, that should be in here. Now I realize there's potential negative to actually doing a really quick buy now, because what it does is it now I wonder if actually I should make Malaysia the connection point here, not a direct flight to Kuala Lumpur. Sorry, it is Kuala Lumpur, not a direct flight to Jakarta. Alright, we'll leave it like that for now. So there is obviously the positive that we can we get so much more time to sort of sit on our hands where we yeah, let's do it. While we sort of open more places, get that and sort of accrue more money. The problem is that we Munich. All right, guys. So that's our direct flight to Munich. That we want to get another plane or two on this route. Just wait for this guy to come out and hit about halfway, and then we'll put another plane here. We might want our fifth plane in there too. Who's going to stack 3 planes heavy at this one end? I think there's a bit of a gap there. That's okay. Where did that open? Down here? No, it's not even the city. I came to open. Yeah, the slower I open countries, like if I push my time out to say 20 minutes as opposed to 60, it means the routes that I then build are actually going to be cheaper than what they would be if I pushed it all the way to 60 minutes. So that's certainly some give and take on what's going to be best practice there. I do wonder too if what I could do with Africa is make just shorter routes, but I don't think that there is that much traffic flowing through Africa. I mean, you can see sort of just at this glance how sparse it is in terms of cities as opposed to looking at somewhere like India or Europe. But certainly even just sort of sitting here while we, say, tick down to 10 minutes and then we build another 2, just to ensure that when we do get extra countries like cities like that was $13,000. Like, how much would that be if we were, like we say, unlock 2 more countries? Actually, we can probably find that out. So if we unlock Uzbekistan, and we'll connect that through Kazakhstan, and then we connect Cambodia through Bangkok, and then we go back over here, and we just drag a line from there to there. Still about 13,000. Okay, so not as dramatic as I thought it might be. But if we go for our measuring stick over here of our Havana flight, that's now up to 112,000. Gambia. There's Gambia over here. There we are. But we'll let that tick away for a little bit. Get back down to 10 minutes before we make our next one. Just having a look at this overview to see if there's any cities or lines that are problems. This one here is probably still our major one, but you can see that there are planes traveling here that aren't red, and there's planes traveling back this way that aren't red as well. So there's certainly certain points on that route where you will hit that you've got a full load, but it's not excessive because they are sort of reaching a point where they do correct and don't have everything. These do start to make me wonder if I should be making a even smaller hubs now. That say, is it better off that Wuhan has so many planes flying in and out of it that are flying slightly further, or would I be better off having, say, a shorter place? So, like, say, making this capital for all these cities, and so that it sort of spiderwebs out a bit more eventually. Quite happy with how we've managed to recover the Atlantic here. Obviously, there are still red flights, but it is fine. The fact that I'm getting so many Chinese cities still this late in the game does validate saying that early in this game, what you want to do is you do want to get India, China, and America going. And I think that you want to get America going not because there's anywhere near as many cities as these two, but it's because if you can pay for these cheap, these routes, and then you just make more than you need, then you can potentially sell them at the end for good money, because you actually should be able to survive without them. Like that Havana flight, you can see it. These are like, I haven't corrected the way that these planes all sit. They sit in a row like that, and you can see that this guy here is only taking 116 people. Like there's nothing on that route. Okay, so I think New York is still only connected to Washington internally. So what we'll do is we will give it a second plane just so that because it doesn't need to have people sitting on it. We just basically need to shift them off, or if they're waiting for an international flight, I suppose. Shwa. Is that India? I assume that's India, right? No, it's Pakistan. Peshawar. Now the good news is, in every time that I'm doing this, this 10-minute or this sort of 20-minute stop and reset, is I am ending up with more money at the next 10-minute break than I started with on the previous one. So that's certainly ideal. So what we'll do is let's put Gambia in. We're almost 2 million now, so we have to feel the squeeze on those costs. And that's a big one to come in next. So we certainly want the time to pay attention to that. So we won't do it just yet. That's going to be the teaser for next time. Next time we're going to bring in Brazil and see how we go. But till then, I'll catch you later. See ya.